How do you find leads for your digital agency in those periods when the world just stopped? Hi, my name's Damien Papworth. I'm from a company called Globotel. At Globotel, we help digital agency owners design their business so it delivers. And when we say delivers, we don't mean for your clients, we mean for you, the business owner, so you can create the lifestyle and the income that serves you. After all, that's why we come into business, isn't it? If you've been in the digital agency game for a while, you'll remember at sometimes leads just stop. Sometimes there's no real reason. Maybe a marketing campaign is just not working anymore. Sometimes it's a shock, a GFC or a coronavirus recession or something like that. But what happens when the leads stop? Because it leaves us feeling quite helpless. We're thinking, what do we do now? And if we don't have an answer for that, we are quite helpless. So in this workshop, I'm going to take you through a strategy you can employ in your digital agency where we rejig marketing a little bit. Typically in marketing, what we do is we put a strategy together, put some stuff out into the digital world and wait for the leads to come. I want to rejig that a bit to make it a lot quicker. I want to give you things you can do so there's no waiting, there's just going out and grabbing leads. That's what we're going to cover in this video. If you're here on YouTube today though, because you're a digital agency looking for ideas on how to create a much more successful and profitable digital agency, why not subscribe to the Globotel TV YouTube channel? We're bringing videos to you, digital agency owners, every single Monday, purely designed to help you create a better digital agency. Now to our video. All right, can everyone please let me know that you can see the Globotel presentation? Yep, great, we can all see it. Let's get moving. All right, so look, as we start here, I just wanted to say, obviously extraordinary times. I hope you're all keeping healthy and well. We're obviously all experiencing a deal of pain. We're all hoping that this will, the dust will settle in the next 6 weeks or so, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and we get back to business as usual. One thing that I'm really pushing my community with, I'm assuming most of you are in the Digital Marketing Dream Team. Please be active there. We've got some stuff like John Logar, amazing coach. He's doing clarity calls every morning. And it's really interesting to see the people in that community actually making money. There's an implementation, people do the job, and then they make a deal. Some of the deals that he talked about, or that were talked about by the people in the clarity call this morning, 70,000 sold. There's money out there. There are people that are still doing business. So obviously we're all losing business on one end, but we can actually, we can lift our work rate and try to get money on the other end. So the reason for outreach, this outreach training is quite often as marketers, we spend a lot of time waiting for leads. We do a marketing campaign and we wait for the leads to come. So the idea with this is we don't have to wait. We can get cracking and actually just go out and try to get leads if we're clever and strategic about it. So let's do that. But the one point about outreach is that it is marketing. I think people get it wrong when they treat it like sales. So just remember, we're doing marketing, not sales. It's not telesales. It's telemarketing. Although we're not necessarily doing on the telephones. But let's go through it. The original reason why I put this workshop together wasn't to try to get people out of a crisis. It was to try to get people to be able to do outreach marketing without the stress and the fear and the fear of rejection and the fear of confrontation and that kind of stuff, to get past that. So, the learnings are still very aligned with what's going on today. So let's get going. So to get maximum value, really want you to be present here today. If you can switch your phone off, that'd be great. If you can, if you've got kids at home, ask them to go in a different room. Just so we can really absorb this. I'd love to, have the questions coming through the chat, and I'll try to answer them as I see them. All right, so opportunities to actually start things. If we got the opportunity to start things, let's try to do as much as we can while we're here, so we don't all end up with homework that maybe we'll miss because we're busy with other crisis management tasks that we've got. And obviously there's going to be gaps that we need to fill in once we leave. So the challenge with marketing generally, as I said, these slides I actually put together some months ago, but this looks like the car park of Robina Town Centre at the moment, and it seems like there's no one around. Pretty much wherever we go at the moment, it seems like there's no one around. I got through I dropped my kids up at school this morning for their last day for this term, and there was no traffic. It was great. There was no school traffic at all. I got in and out and home in record time. But this is it at the moment. Seems like our lead generation is subject to outside forces. How true is that today? We all would have seen a big drop off in the leads coming through, based on our normal marketing campaigns. Completely outside our control. Obviously, coronavirus has decimated leads from normal sources. And it leaves us feeling disempowered. If we're actually waiting for things to happen, it's pretty disempowering when things don't happen. We just sort of end up sitting a little bit. What do we do now? I mean, who's feeling that at the moment? Is anyone feeling, geez, what do we do now? Yep. Yeah, great. It's, it can be soul destroying. We want to actually feel in control and feel like we can make a difference. So, periods without leads with normal levels of attrition push our business backwards, and we need to stop that. We need to stop our business from going backwards, because businesses tend to grow or they die. Obviously, at the moment, we have abnormal levels of attrition, high levels of client attrition based on this shock. And, one of the things that I want everyone to realize and keep in your mind, I did a video on our YouTube channel, I think on Wednesday or so, about outrunning the coronavirus recession. And there's two parts of it. The first part is we have these shock waves that come through, and no one can avoid the shock waves. Obviously, in Australia, the first shock wave was Scott Morrison on Sunday, going to, I think, stage 2 or stage 1. His first big restriction of trade was shutting down hospitality and that kind of stuff. Big shock. People lose clients. Like we had, I think we lost about 12-15% of our revenue on Monday. We can't avoid those shocks, but we can get busy and try to outrun the next stage, which is the gradual fallout, and try to replace from the shock and outrun the rest of it. So that's what the goal is. All right. So the opportunity though is we can, we have time. We can increase our activity. With the stuff that we're doing, we can increase our activity. Things like times like the present, we tend to get more resource capacity. Sometimes we get so much more, we have to make other decisions like, forcing people on unpaid leave. That's one of the things that we're doing at the moment. Everyone in the business, including me, we're forcing everyone to take a week of unpaid leave next month. Everyone gets a week off except for me. I'm just being unpaid. So, but with this in mind, if I had, like, if the guys in my team were in the right position and the right frame and the right type of person to go into, sales and marketing kind of roles rather than process-driven work, I wouldn't give them unpaid leave. I'd put them into those sales roles, because we can increase our activity when we've got resources. So always remember that. And when we increase our activity, if we do it with actions that transcend the conditions, that replace the natural order at the moment, that becomes really effective, because quite often, if we're the ones that are doing this and no one else is doing it, we're the only ones being out there getting the stuff done. So we get seen as the guys that are moving, the guys that are positive, the guys that are optimistic, the guys that are the people to speak to, because everyone else is sort of bunkering down and hiding away. So, obviously, for example, if the current conditions say you're going to lose 20% of your clients, but we double our activities on the other end, on the client acquisition side of things, maybe our action, that's enough to actually transcend that loss of 20%. So that's what we've got to think about. If our leads through Google ads aren't converting into sales, maybe we need to do something else to transcend that new condition. And that could not necessarily be a do more. It could be a change of target, change of niche. You know, maybe if my niche is in hotels and bars and cafes today, maybe the problem is that they're out of business for the next month or so. Maybe I need to focus on cleaners or lawyers or, you know, or accountants that specialize in insolvency. You know, maybe that's a market that we focus on for the time being because these are the guys that are getting busy. So that can be an action that transcends conditions, is refocusing our energy to some different direction. And to do things that make us feel empowered. I can't stress enough that with what's going on at the moment, it makes us feel unempowered. You know, if we can do things that actually give us a feeling of empowerment, you know, the mental health side of it, the mental health side of this type of marketing strategy is really, really important. Last year, we went through a stage early in the year where we lost a couple of our bigger clients. It was a decision we made because they weren't really sort of a great fit for our businesses, but we dropped a bit of revenue. But we also dropped, you know, those bigger clients were a percentage of our purchasing power. So we dropped momentum and speed of new business coming through Globotel because we lost some of these guys that were actually putting on projects every week. Kind of left me feeling, what do I do now? But getting out and doing outreach, being intimate with that process of outreach and seeing, you know, it turn into business, you know, it gave me a real feeling of, you know what, I can do this. You know what, I can actually take control of the situation and that my actions are actually having an impact that is going to get us to an outcome. You know, it was super empowering. And all of a sudden I got Michelle in head office to do the same. And we had Stephen over in South Africa head office. He started doing the same. And all of a sudden our senior management team was feeling like vibrant and moving and positive because we were doing stuff that was having a visible effect for no other reason than we were doing stuff. And it was just so empowering. So, you know, really super important that the mental framework side of things with these strategies too. All right, so basically what we're looking for is, you know, a simple strategy that gives us full control of our financial success. And that's what I'm going to try to give to you today. Obviously framing with the current environment with the coronavirus and shutdowns and that kind of stuff, this doesn't overcome the instant shocks that we have when we lose big slabs at the same time because of, you know, a volcano exploding. But this does if we talk about this being a three-month thing, it gives us something to do that we should have control over the outcome over the next 3 months, some level of control. All right, so, you know, one of the things with outreach is, you know, marketers quite often are quite introverted. Most of the stuff we do is based on, you know, putting stuff out there and waiting for stuff to come through. Quite often we're afraid of getting on the phone and ringing people. People that are great at telemarketing, they tend to be afraid of going to networking. So I just want everyone in the comments, please, what's one of the things in marketing that you're not comfortable with? Not necessarily afraid. Some people don't like that word, but what are some things that you don't do because you don't feel comfortable about it? Just like everyone to share an idea or something like that, because one of the things with this is picking up the phone. Thanks, Tim. That's most of us, I think, in marketing. One of the things with this is that we are limited in our business by the things that we're uncomfortable with. And presentations, thanks, Claire. Is that like in front of groups or Sue Ellen, cold calling, same thing, picking up the phone? The thing about being uncomfortable with Rayno, it's public speaking, thanks. So that's like group presentations where you're trying to sell by presenting in front of a crowd. But one of the things that I find is that, or asking for how to ask for the deal. Quite often, all you need to do is say, "Would you like some help with this?" And it doesn't feel salesy. But yeah, so one way we get over these feelings of being uncomfortable with certain things is to do more of it. And you know, that's the hard bit, is that we have to go through that discomfort. The only way to go through discomfort to get comfortable is to do more, is to keep doing it until it becomes normal. Back when I was in the superannuation industry, there was a super introverted guy in our office, and oh geez, that was 20 years ago, so I can't even remember his name. I think it was Gary, but he, super introverted, hated presenting. He wouldn't even present in front of 3 people in the office. He was that afraid. But talking to him about his career, at one point in his career, he was presenting in front of rooms of 5 to 10,000. You know, and because that was his job at that time. For a year and a half, that was his job, and it built up from small groups. But he had no problem in that part of his career presenting in front of 5 to 10,000 people, because he got comfortable with it, because it became his norm. So that's one thing I want to think about is, you know, if there's something uncomfortable, we've got the time to do it, but it feels uncomfortable because we don't like it. Let's try to push through that and make it the norm. That's obviously how athletes train too. You know, you go in training, you're uncomfortable in the training, push through your boundaries so that you can perform much higher when the game's on. All right, thanks for your feedback, everyone there. Okay, so 5 pillars of no stress outreach. These are the 5 things that I want to concentrate on today. And the first one is to be specific. So these are the things that we can really, we can focus on and just fine tune for the current scenario. So usually when I talked about being specific, it's thinking about your niche. Now, one niche, the point about being specific is you get very, very, very clear on your messaging. And when you're very, very clear on your messaging, because you're focusing on something really specific, when someone's listening to your message or consuming your message, they feel like you're speaking to them because it's about them. It's very, very clear. It's about their problems, about the solutions that they need. It's about their dreams and, the Mount Everest they want to climb. When you're not speaking to a niche specifically and it's more general, people find it hard to actually consume the message and make it relevant to them. So, super important that with our messaging, we're very specific. We're talking in our audience's words, in context of their dreams or current period, in context of their fears. And that's the way we're heard. That's the way our messages are heard. That's the way our messages cut through, the clutter. So maybe everyone, I'll just get you guys to put in the chat too, maybe one industry that you think is benefiting or growing or becoming, there's more momentum in at the moment because of the coronavirus challenges. And I'll read out everyone's, if you've got one or two, I'll read out everyone's ideas, because these are the industries we should be focusing on. Fitness home workouts, excellent. All the gyms, how do we get the gyms to transition from, a physical thing to at home? That's a great one. So the picture here is of a fishing net, a man going fishing. And the reason why this is the picture I've used for this particular slide is because fishing nets, when you make them stretch really, really wide, the gaps in the net get bigger. So a lot of fish slip through the gaps, whereas if you keep them quite narrow, you catch a much bigger, much better haul. So so really that's the point about niching, is that you catch more. And some of the business coaches that I've spoken to that talk about this, they talk about catching a 3 times a haul rather than what you'd normally catch with niching better, being more specific, because of the way the messaging works. So some of these, so let's have a look. Online conference software, awesome. Software, everyone needs it at the moment. You can build that around advice and solutions around remote teams, working from home, that kind of stuff. You can build that into overall, services for your clients. Home delivery services, absolutely. Workout equipment. I saw a post on Facebook, one of my friends looking for, does anyone have a 2 8-kilogram dumbbells? People are asking for that. Online courses and training, streaming services. How about cleaning businesses? Plumbers, lawyers. We talked about, insolvency accountants. Any bricks and mortar business that has to now go online. The bricks and mortar guys, they're like, I don't know anything about online. I don't trust online. I don't want to talk to you as an agency because I get all my business through what we've done through my relationships or whatever. They're now saying we need to go online. Massive opportunity there. One of the guys in Digital Marketing Dream Team, I I'm not sure if he's on. I'm not sure if he's on. Then I'll just check. Sam. He this morning. He go and have a look at his post this morning. He's not here, otherwise I'd get him to talk a little bit more about what he's doing. But yeah, just have a look at his post this morning. He's trying to hire salespeople because of a pivot he made to help lawyers during the coronavirus. So he's made this pivot and he's selling leads from his own website, and now he wants a salesperson because it's working to help him contact all the legal firms. Have a look at that and get some ideas from that. So there's lots of, there are lots of opportunities at the moment if we maybe stall or pause our usual niche or our usual generalist and we focus on something really, really specific that needs us today. Anyone got any other suggestions that we haven't talked about opportunities? I personally think online marketing is one of the potential beneficiaries. Digital agencies is one of the potential beneficiaries of this, because so many people are going to realize at the end of it that they need to be online now where previously they weren't. So all those people that put it off will start to understand. Things to keep kids occupied. Amazing, absolutely. Pity I don't think babysitting services is a essential thing, but it should be at the moment, I think, because next week I'm going to have 3 kids at home. Business loans, absolutely. So one of the things to think about too is with your programs, can you guys work out, speak to your accountant or speak to someone in the know, Chamber of Commerce. I know they're doing a lot of web shots and stuff like that. Can you work out how to use the stimulus packages in your country to support marketing for your businesses? Some of the things with packaging up things like that is, in John Logan's session this morning, he was talking about doing strategy and implementation, even if that people want to put the execution off because there's ad costs. The next 2 to 3 months, if they do their strategy and implementation now, ready to pull the trigger when things are back to normal, then that'll save them 2 or 3 months of strategy and implementation when things are back at normal and they want to be running. So is there a way you can frame your stuff specifically for your target audience along that kind of way, or that kind of sort of logic and styling? So dog toys, I don't have dogs. I don't understand how that would be benefiting. Sue Ellen, maybe you can speak, because we're home with our dogs, aren't we? They'll be yapping at our feet trying to do while we're trying to work. But yeah, so the finance side of it, absolutely. If you put up more, I'll keep going, but if you put up more ideas, I'll just read them out to help trigger things in our minds, industries that are benefiting at the moment. Talking about though, Sam saying he's looking for salespeople. I saw another one of them up earlier in the week where one of my friends who's an electrician was saying, well, one of my friends in a cleaning business was looking to hire people. So a cleaning business looking to hire people. Have a look on the job boards. Who's hiring at the moment? Maybe you have think about changing your niche to people that are hiring. Dogs driving us nuts. Dog wardens aren't around because they can't take them out. Absolutely cool. Excellent. Thanks, Sue Ellen. So, okay, next one, make volume your routine. So, look, outreach is a numbers game. Purely and simple, it's a numbers game. So, part of my outreach strategy is we use LinkedIn, and this is how it's worked for us during this crisis. We have 6 profiles, and each profile 30 cold outreach a day during normal times. Now we've got, today we've got 7 profiles in outreach. We've dialed that up to 50 outreach per profile a day. So we've basically doubled our outreach using LinkedIn during this period. We're still getting clients. We're getting 5 to 10 agencies registering with us, wanting to talk to us about us serving them in the current environment every week. So, but we've done that. We've realized that we've dropped way back, so we doubled our output. So we've got to make volume your routine. So what does this mean for you today? It's, what are your resources? If last month you were doing nothing, what can you do this month with your spare hours? What does it look like? If it's you who's doing it, block it in your calendar, make this the priority for your business. This is the number 1 priority of your business, is to spend this time in your calendar. And I don't mean do it all in one day. I mean, do a little bit every day. So maybe 1 hour a day doing outreach strategy, either LinkedIn, or we'll talk about some of the thingos later, some of the opportunities later for you today, and how you can structure it up. But it's got to be your routine. If you've got staff who are, you've shifted from fulfillment into, helping with sales and business development, make sure it's in their calendar. Make sure that they're honoring these appointments to sit down and grind out the numbers in their calendar. One of my mates here on the coast, got Craig Billett. His business has basically stopped. He was one on the front line of industries that stopped. He creates exhibition stands. So, the conference center has a big thing. He'll build the 4 biggest stands. So, Alibaba was one of the first exhibitions to cancel. He had Blackmores and Swiss Vitamins as 2 of his clients in that thing. That's what he does. And, obviously every single event, every single conference, every single exhibition cancelled pretty much straight away. And so his business just stopped. So what he's done though is he's pivoted and he's now making sneeze guards, like protective screens to stop people working in the chemist. There's another opportunity, chemists. They're busy at the moment, and all obviously the doctors' studios and that kind of stuff, like that health practitioner industry, essential services, they're busy at the moment. But yeah, so he's making those sneeze guards, and he had a team of 20. He's selling enough sneeze guards to keep the business open and keep 5 of those 20 in a job. A brand new product that he never did before. But he's got another 2 guys full-time in sales. So he's dedicated full-time sales, 2 more people just that were previously in the shop, previously in the warehouse, doing the construction. He's got fulfillment staff now doing sales. For a week there, he had his whole team of 20 just doing sales. So, shift resources from fulfillment into this sort of strategy. Make volume your routine. Make sure it's in people's calendars and that they honour the time there in doing the outreach. So how to get people to honour that time? Set up KPIs and make sure people hit their KPIs. You might want to have, a spreadsheet with number of connections, number of conversations, number of progressions, number of, sales or opportunities or pitches, that kind of stuff. All right, so next one. As I said, this is marketing, it's not sales. So what we're trying to achieve is a conversation. And the way we do that is to make everything about them, so nothing about us. It's really simple. If you start talking about yourself, it's not going to work. People will just disconnect from you. They won't listen to you at all. So the way we do that is, we all seen it, LinkedIn, people connect with us and we get a full page pitch. Sometimes we don't even get the connection. It's just an email pitch. On Facebook, I get a lot of those Facebooks. Someone friend requests and you got, hey brother, please join my Facebook group. It's about this. So Tanya just said the medical industry is mixed at the moment. Some are busy, but she's just lost a client, and it's because it seems to be plummeting for some. Obviously, they've got high operating costs. One of the guys in the group reached out to me talking about doing online medical assessments. I don't know what's going on with that, but there's how do we actually help them overcome these challenges? Because there is a solution for pretty much everything. And it's an online solution, and that's our niche. That's our expertise, is how do we get people online? I don't have that specific answer there, Tanya. I just know there is something there that people are talking about. Yeah, awesome. That's great. Make it about them, not you. And what this means is we're just trying to start a conversation. So the way you do this is think about when you go to a networking meeting. You don't go and say, hi, I'm Damien. I do this. Give me your business. What you tend to do is say, hi, I'm Damien. Nice to meet you. Tell me a bit about yourself. That's how we do outreach marketing. We want to get them talking. So don't be one of those people that connects and pitch. Be nice, be personable, treat it as the start of a relationship as you would in real life and not online. All right, so the next one, conversations equals opportunities. This is what we are looking for. Every conversation is an opportunity. And so this is, this is, we're trying to, how do we create conversations? And the simple thing is we ask questions. We don't want to tell, we just want to ask questions. And this is a real sales, a sales technique. One of my mates, Matthew Wyatt, he's a sales guy. He does sales coaching. He's in the digital marketing dream team if you want to connect with him. But in these initial meetings, he talks about the 70-30 rule, which means 70% of your time. And this, when I say listening and talking, this is typing, listening, typing. Like when I say listening, I mean reading. When I say talking, I mean typing. So it cuts across the different medias. But 70-30 rule is 70% of the time you should be listening, 30% of the time you should be asking questions. So that's how you get to understand the needs of your prospects. So if you think about 70-30, listening, asking questions, I'm not great at maths, but can someone just in the chat let me know how much is left for talking about yourself and your services and that kind of stuff? If we've got 30 asking questions and 70 listening, someone just help me out with the maths there, please, anyone? Oh, come on. I just want an answer because I'm not an accountant. Anyway, but the point is that obviously there's zero. You don't talk about yourself at all. But thanks, Reynald. I got a 0. I was right. And I didn't even use a calculator. But the point with this is that we start a conversation and we get to understand the person a bit more and what their needs are. And with that understanding, then we can craft something that matters for them. And this is super, super relevant today. A really good example is, when someone says, do you use WordPress for your websites? Most digital agencies will say yes or no and tell the person why. If you ask the question instead, why is, website platform important to you, you'll get a better answer. You'll get an answer like, yeah, I heard it's really good for SEO. Now, instead of selling a website, you're selling a website and SEO. Oh, so SEO is important to you. Why is that? And you start unpacking that and you get a much bigger deal because rather than give an answer, you ask a question. Now, some of the things that are important today with this, I think we've been trained over the last few years to try to tie people into 12-month programs or 24 or longer programs of marketing that works. We know SEO, you want a good long period of time to make SEO really take and stick, which is 12 months. But today, a lot of businesses out there don't even know how they're going to be in 8 weeks, let alone 12 months. So the conversation we should be having, asking questions about what they're doing, what their fears are, where they think they'll be in 8 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever, time frame. What's their plan for when things get back to normal? How long do they think before things get back to normal? So we can offer them something relevant today. So relevant today could be a 3-month thing. How about we do what we want to see you at is when things get back to normal, you're in a position to take advantage because people are going to go, bang, we've had enough of this lockdown. Let's go spend some money. They're going to do a search, find people close that can provide them with what they're looking for and give them the business. Now, having a 3-month plan conversation with someone today is going to get a much better result than a 12-month plan. But if you're in the talking mode rather than the asking question mode, you're not going to understand what your prospects are looking for and it's not going to work. So it's super, super important in these times to really understand through questioning what people are looking for, what your prospects are looking for, so that you can craft a proper offer for them that's going to serve them today, keep your businesses going and, get everyone to the other side. This is an important thing too. We need to get to the other side. As digital agencies, we have a responsibility in our businesses to get to the other side so we can help everyone get moving again. That's our role in business, is to help businesses get moving. If we're not there at the other side, who's going to help these businesses get moving? I don't know, but I think it should be us. So how do we get to the other side? Is by continuing to have these conversations and give people what they need and help them get to the other side, because we want them at the other side too, so that, we've got someone to help keep moving again. So really, really important to think about that, but we're not going to know what they want unless we ask questions rather than prescribe and create something that fits the mark rather than something that we want or have always done. Make sense? All right, so the last bit is to move them or move them on. As I said, it's a real numbers game. So a lot of people at the moment are not now. You need to move on not now. If there's a legitimate not now after you've done the proper conversations and worked out exactly what they're looking for and they still are not really wanting to do anything, move on to the next person. You know, if you're playing the numbers, there's going to be a lot of, yep, let's go. I've seen that in John Logar's morning clarity calls. There are people selling every single time there's a call. There are people with wins that have made sales. If you have a look, Digital Marketing Dream Team, for the first live I did this morning, Matthew White said, Damien, I've been following your live, just doing one positive thing at a time, and I've made a couple of sales this week. So people are definitely making sales. Don't get caught up. One of the, in this morning clarity call with John, one of the ladies there made a sale because she said to a guy, look, you know, an old prospect, you know, we have this talk quite often and you never do anything. I don't have the time now to have this conversation with you unless you're going to do something. So make a decision first whether we're doing something or not. If you are, let's have the conversation. If you're not, I'm busy, I've got to go get to the next person. So that's the attitude we've got to have. If there's a clear not now or a clear no, let's just forget them. Don't take it personally, move to the next person. All right, so 5 pillars to an outreach strategy. Let me know what's been most helpful so far. Any questions, any suggestions from that have come up in your mind? I'll give us, while we're typing, I'll give us like 1.5 minutes, 90 seconds, and then we'll move on. I'll put a timer on my phone. 90 seconds, not I try to do 90 minutes. I won't do 90 minutes. All right, any questions? Tanya, look at industries that are hiring. Absolutely. Seek LinkedIn. Great, Tim. Ask questions. Ask questions, don't prescribe. Using LinkedIn. Yeah, Claire, I'll tell you a bit more about what we're doing with LinkedIn and how to work that. It's an excellent way to outreach. Cold outreach on LinkedIn. Thanks, Tanya. Anyone else? By the way, too, guys, I will give you these slides. So I'll put the replay up and I'll share the slides with you. So there are a couple of links in the slide. You don't have to feverishly jot them down. You can just click the link once you get there. Okay, 30 seconds left. Anything else? Anyone have any other industries that you think is benefiting at the moment that could need service? No one said soft tissue manufacturers. I thought that was an obvious one. All right, time's up. Let's keep moving. Let's get into the prospecting strategy. So I'm just going to jump across to my iPad for this. Apologies for that, everyone. But so this is basically, I just want to talk about how this model works and how we're going to do this. I'm just, sorry. All right, so what we're looking at is there's 3 parts to getting this going. And the first part, and we're going to do this now. We're basically going to run through this all, we're going to run through this in the next 20 minutes or so, and hopefully get everyone started so that at the end of this meeting, we can get going and just try to start reaching out to people and changing the way we're weathering this storm. So the first one is planning. And so plan, we talked a bit about the niche and how we need to fine tune that at the moment and get a better, you know, a more focused thing as to what's working, and which industries are working over the next 2 to 3 months. We're going to plan the conversations we're having with these people, so we're not just jumping up and just changing things and saying things whatever feels like based on, you know, how we're going today. We've got actually specific conversations we're trying to have, and then we're going to have a think about the database that we're going to use to run through this exercise with. And, you know, there's some really good databases. I know, Tanya, a couple of times you've said that I don't have a database. I've got some ideas on how we can change that because I think everyone's got a number of databases they can leverage off today immediately. So then the prospecting thing is what do we do to connect with people? You know, what are the questions we ask? And then we converse with them from there. And, you know, basically we just try to get people to respond to our prompts. Because once they respond to our prompts, that's like a hand up saying, yep, I'm ready to talk. We can have a conversation. If we don't get that indication, hand up, ready to talk, we don't want to push people. We just want to hit more numbers to get the next person to put their hand up. Because, you know, remember with all this is one of the things that John keeps saying is all we're trying to do is get that one next client. That's all we want to concentrate on at the moment is to get one next client. If we focus on just getting that one client, the next one, that's enough. You know, once we get the next one, then we focus on the one after that. But let's just focus on the next one for now. All right, and then after prospecting, we progress. And the progressing system is basically reverse of the prospecting ones. So we converse with them. Sue Ellen, you talked about asking for the sale at the end. That's just a question. What's a question where we ask for the job in a way that doesn't feel salesy and feels like we're helping? And it's pretty simple. Would you like some help with that? Can I help you solve that? Or, you know, that kind of stuff. If you've done your questioning and your conversations right, typically the question for the deal isn't it could be just, well, when do you want to start? You know, it's a really subtle, small thing that just finalizes the conversation. And the connect at the end is connecting the dots between the conversation and the solution you provide. So that's what we're looking at. Some of this stuff is stuff we can do here. Some of it, I hope you got some notes for this section or a notepad and pen for this section. Some of it is stuff that you're going to have to go away and do. Like the conversations that you're going to have are going to come out from the questions you'll ask. You know, the solutions that you provide over the next 2 to 3 months might come out of the conversations that you're having. So, you know, the needs that people are showing as part of those conversations. So it's really, really important that we do have them and we're agile and nimble in the way that we approach, you know, the outcomes of those conversations. So let's talk about niche. So look, this is pretty standard. There's a link here that you guys can generate, which has a form that's, you know, similar to this one, where you can put a picture of your avatar, what he looks like, give him a name, work out all the bits and pieces of your ideal avatar. For us though, I think what we should be thinking about are, you know, what are the things, who's spending money at the moment? What's going to get us through the next 3 months? Who can we serve? You know, some of at Globotel, we've put together a emergency website solution. You know, it's in 6 currencies, so I can't really give you a price, but if you want a price, just reach out to Leanne on the Globotel messenger or by email. But it's really cost effective. We'll get it done in a week. For all those bricks and mortars who need to go online now, we've only got one template. We're going to keep it really simple. It's not a shopping cart one. It's just a basic WordPress. I think 5 pages. Provide the content. We'll put it together and it's done. You know, who needs that service today? Who needs to pivot? Who needs to change direction? What do they look like? What are the what's the characteristics of that person? Can we identify them, because that becomes an ideal client, that becomes a niche we can focus on. But let's talk about other things, you know, other niches we can focus on. It's you know, I talked about Craig and how he's got these cough guards, the sneezing guards to protect people and chemists from people walking in and sneezing. Chemists are super busy. Funny, I saw another friend on Facebook say that she's just in one of the chemist chains here selling safety stickers. She's a print shop, and so she's in chemist also. There's a niche. How can we help chemists? You know, is there maybe someone needs to outreach to a bunch of chemist owners and have that as a niche and ask them the question to see what they're looking for, because they're clearly looking for things. So yeah, that link, Tim, I'll send you the slide deck. So the link will be in the slides in the PDF. So definitely you'll have access there. Don't jump into it now. It's you know, it's just basically this screen and things you can think about. But what I want you to do is suspend your normal niche and suspend your normal ideal client and think about the ideal client over the next 3 months. Does anyone have any questions or even suggestions about ideal clients? I just love if everyone, I get that we're all sort of same industry and maybe competing. There's only 8 of us here at the moment though, so let's share ideas. There should be enough business for everyone. Okay, what's your networking style? This is, I think, it's a really important one because the best way to do outreach, I think, is to just be yourself as if you're at, I always talk about being at a network meeting. So this is really important because when you're reaching out to people, you're going to be asked these kind of questions and you want to be natural and you want to introduce yourself as if it was a real relationship. So when I do outreach in LinkedIn, for example, I just walk up to a counter, the coffee tray, walk up to the coffee station, networking event. Hi, I'm Damien. Look like good to see you here. Look like a pretty cool person. Let's have a chat. And that's sort of how I structure my LinkedIn opener. Hi, it's Damien. Looks, we've got a few connections in common. Love to connect. You look like a really person to connect to. And it's sort of a mirror. Sorry, when they connect and they accept it, then I've got another follow-up and I introduce myself a bit more. Okay, cool, I help digital agencies with white label services. Tell me a bit about yourself though. I'd like to hear what you do and what you're focusing on. And then I just listen. That, when we were doing 30 outreach a day, we'd have 10 people connect back, and that second conversation, or that second question would generate between 10 and 20 conversations every single week, which would turn into about 3 to 5 next steps. So 3 to 5 actions after that. So when I talk about empowering, 30 connections a day, 10 acceptances, second question goes out, 10 real conversations turning into 3 opportunities. That's pretty empowering every week. Think about 3 opportunities a week, 3 real opportunities to progress business a week in your business and how quickly you'd get to capacity. If you had a 10% close, or sorry, a 30% close rate, that's 1 new client a week. But you have to do the numbers. Obviously, 1 new client a week, we'd always be tempted to go back into fulfillment and then forget to do the hour a day or the 30 connection requests a day. You've got to keep that moving, keep that moving, keep that moving. All right, so what I wanted to do though with this is maybe put a bit of time on the clock. I'll give us, if you've got a pen, I'll give us another 90 seconds, okay? 90 seconds. I want you to write down how are you going to say hi. Now think about networking. If you're going to transcribe that into a script on an email or a script on a LinkedIn post, a LinkedIn connection, how are you going to say hi? And then what's the second one? How do you introduce yourself? Keep that part really short, but when you introduce yourself, what's the question you're going to ask the prospect so you can get them talking? So there's already 30 seconds gone from that 90 seconds. I'd love for someone, a couple of people, to put the final question. What's the question you're going to ask? Natural, as if you're in a networking event, to get people talking about themselves. 45 seconds left. So I'm going to pick on someone who hasn't. Mabel, maybe you can give us an example. I haven't heard from you yet. Brett, maybe. What's your question in there? Anyone want to share? We've got 5 seconds left. All right, if someone could share, that'd be great. We'll keep going though while you're typing in. I know it always takes a little bit of time to actually type it up in the chat. All right, so the next one is, where is everyone? What is working? Asking, thanks, Tim. Ask what's working. Maybe a current question is, what stopped working with the pandemic? What's still working? That kind of stuff. All right, so where are you going to find your people? If you've got a clear niche, here's some areas you can find people. I've got some variation on this the next step, but LinkedIn's obviously a clear place where you can do specific searches, find specific niches, and reach out. So LinkedIn, obviously bought by Microsoft recently, has limits on the amount of searches you can do and connections you can do based on what package that you're buying. So one from Tanya, what are your pain points in this challenging climate? Look, that's sort of, remember, we've just met this person at the coffee station. Maybe it's just how you're going in this client rather than pain points. You know, it's not really supposed to be a marketing conversation at this point. It's just supposed to be an introduction. You know, are you keeping safe? You know, how are you going? How's business in this at the moment? Maybe just, you know, a little bit less marketing speak, a little bit more person, as if you're just meeting someone. Yeah, so I help business get visibility online, which is so important right now, right? I'd cut that down to 5 to 7 words maximum. I help digital agencies with white label services. Now, maybe it's just a look, I help businesses with their online, because this is just that quick introduction. You can go that later. You don't want to make this bit about you. Everything of this bit, you need to introduce yourself, but you want to focus on them. So, hey, I help people with their online stuff. How's business going during the crisis, kind of thing. Keep it really simple, really open chatty, not markety at all. Anyone else? I'll come back if everyone else is putting stuff up. So yeah, but where are you going to find people? LinkedIn, search really good. You need to have I've got the premium business. I think it's about $69 a month. Basically unlimited connection requests, unlimited searches at that price. So each of the 7 profiles we've got in our business running has that $69 subscription. You can buy an email database. All you need to do is search link broker and your country. If in the US, link broker New York, or Australia, link broker Sydney, or link broker Australia, that kind of stuff. You can build an email database from LinkedIn. The idea with this is, in LinkedIn, you've got the LinkedIn Lions, the LinkedIn Open Networkers, and they have tens of thousands of people following them. If you connect with 2 or 3 of those, they're quite open. They'll connect with anyone pretty much. But if you connect with 2 or 3 of them, you'll open your second level network up to, by 30,000 people. If you do 3, these guys have a maximum of 30,000. They'll all have over 10,000. So you could open up yourself to max, like for 90,000 second level connections. All you need to do is go to these people when they connect you, go to their connections and search on your avatar, and you can build a database from that. Find those people specifically and connect with those people specifically from. So that's a quick way to get to more people in LinkedIn. Obviously, you can have a VA scrape data from Google for your avatar to find contact details from websites. But yeah, cool. So what I want everyone to do is, that's using these databases, these sources of data, is a good way to leverage and to move forward long-term, because these are long-term database sources or sources of data. So I want everyone to select one now. What do you think is the best way for you to go forward from today using outreach? What's the best source of data? Is it LinkedIn? Is it buy a database? Is it build something using LinkedIn Lions or scraping data? Let's all just commit in the comments. I'd love to hear what's going to be most relevant to you. LinkedIn, then data scrape from Tim. 1, then 4. So LinkedIn and then database. Thanks, Tanya. Claire, LinkedIn, great. If you're doing 4, make sure as you're doing LinkedIn, you get that data prepared early. You don't wait till you exhaust your LinkedIn tolerance and then move to a scrape, then start preparing your database. Try to get ahead of the curve. All right, cool. Thank you, guys. Here's what I want to talk about too. There's a couple of other, not used LinkedIn before to reach out, but would definitely use it for now. Yeah, absolutely. It's our go-to. There is so much business on LinkedIn, and you'll find if you do it professionally, as if you're at a networking event, soft touch about them, you'll be amazed. People are really, really open to being reached out to. It's not like the other social media platforms where people sort of, I don't want to talk about that here. People want to talk about it in LinkedIn. So it's our go-to. So let's talk about some other forms of data that you can access. So one of the things I've been trying to encourage people to do over your last 12 months, every single proposal you've done, every single quote you've made that hasn't turned into a job, think about how to rejig things in today's environment and go back and reach out to them again. Like if they were 12-month packages, maybe what's better at the moment is a 3-month strategy implementation ready to go in 3 months. So maybe to reach out and, the 12-month package could have been $24,000. I'm just inventing numbers. Maybe give them a $3,000 package for the next 3 months to get everything ready, and then get in touch with them and say, look, no, everyone's shocked and struggling at the moment. We've created this thing. I'm not sure if you're still in the market. We've created this thing that could add value. Let us know if you're interested. We'll talk a little bit about the offers in a sec and how to craft them a bit better. So yeah, if I was digital agency today, I would be going to every single proposal I've done in the last 12 months and revisiting them, trying to create something more relevant for them today and reconnecting there because they know who you are. There's probably an element of trust there already because they've received stuff from you. They'll be open to speaking to you. Well, a proportion of them will be open to speaking to you again. And remember, we're just trying to get the next deal. Or we're not trying to get a percentage of these. We're not going to really worry too much about the successful campaign. We're just trying to get the next deal. Your sent folder in your emails, you have all the connections that you need there. So you'll have years and years in your sent folder of email advice you've given to people. I'd create a strategy around that. That's a database. Sorry, back to past proposals, just to let you know what we're doing at Globotel is why I reckon this is super, super important place to start is we have a lot of digital agencies that register to use us and then never do. Now, we did a big cleanup of them at the start of this year, and there was about probably 600-700 who we just shut down their account in our portal because it wasn't being used. There was no data in there. It was just we just wanted to tidy it up. So we've done that process. We reached out to everyone to see if they wanted to use us or not, and when they said no, we just shut down their portal. We're going to reach out to them starting on Monday next week. I've actually transitioned one of our staff in customer service in Pakistan, created scripts around how they re-engage, and we're just going to reach out to them with some suggestions about how to manage their businesses through the current crisis. We'll give them some resource, some access to some resources, and then try to create a conversation about whether we can help them further. So basically the same thing, going through past proposals, past indications of wanting to do some commerce and seeing if we can reinvigorate those. So family and friends, I don't think we know how powerful that database is. So we should periodically be in touch with family and friends, letting them know what we're doing, let them know how we're helping our clients and our target niche through this crisis so that they can pass it on. Everyone's passing on good stories. Everyone's passing on positive stories at the moment through social media and things like that. So this is the real time where we can leverage family and friends. I was just, my previous business, Ocean Feather Digital Agency, just like yours, and I never talked to family and friends about what I was doing. My brother is a banking manager back then at NAB. Now he's at Suncorp. His job was as a banker for small businesses, and I never actually told him and sat down together and see if we could share databases kind of thing. Just insane because he's my brother. I don't want to talk about that. I want to have a glass of wine and a bite to eat. But massive database. So those three opportunities, they're the databases that you use if you don't think you've got a database. Everyone has that. If you don't have an official database with a CRM, go through your sent folder and create one with all the emails you've sent over the years. That's your database to start with. Okay, cool. So then we've got LinkedIn, which we've talked about, buying databases and scraping data. If you're going to get scraped data, you can get really cheap resources on Fiverr to do the job. Think about how you do your messaging though. Cool. So moving on, we talked about making volume your routine. The guys that did, so with LinkedIn, you just got to be careful about I wouldn't want anyone to do more than 50 connections a day. If you do more than 50 connections a day, you'll potentially get your account into LinkedIn sites, and sometimes accounts get suspended and you've got to prove certain things to get them unsuspended. But yeah, let's commit. 30 connections, 40, 50, how much are you going to do? I just like to see some numbers in the, we all basically said LinkedIn. I'd like to see some numbers in here, how much you're going to commit to each day. And once you've done that, I'm just going to put 60 seconds on the clock. And I'm going to give everyone 60 seconds to go, and 10 to 15 for Tim. 30 sounds like so much. Tanya, is this one of those things that makes you feel uncomfortable? Let's push past discomfort by just doing it for a while. So think about how much time you've got on your hands based on clients potentially leaving. The more that we do, the better this is going to work. Remember, with my stuff, only 30% of connection requests actually accept. So if I do 30 a day, I end up with 10 connections at the end of that day. It takes a bit more time, obviously, for people to actually connect. But cool. So we've got 30, 20, a few 30s, and I can't see the rest. It's above the screen. Hang on a sec. And 10 to 15 for Tim. So that's cool. I want everyone to actually just now, just go to your calendars, pick the time that you're going to be able to sit down and do that, block that time out on your calendar. You've got 50 seconds. I started when I started talking, but let's do that. Let's get in our calendars every single day, the same time every single day that gets done. I'm just going to wait here patiently until it's done. Maybe do a yes once you've done that, so I know you guys have done it. Thanks, Tim. Now you have to honor this appointment. Thanks, Claire. Reynold. Am I pronouncing your name right there, Reynold? Beautiful. Tanya, waiting. All right, let's keep going. Beautiful. Thanks, Tanya. All right, so move them or move them on. Just remember, everyone, it's a numbers game. Some people try to tie you down into chat. Some people try to really clear. Sometimes they're blunt. Sometimes they're, not that friendly. Don't take anything personally. Just move them on if they're not ready to move. And just remember, a no's never a no. It's just a not. It's a not now. So any data you collate with this could be useful down the track. Sometimes you'll get absolutely let's get moving, or I was just looking for you. Can we have a chat? That happens quite often. It's like, oh my God, I was just thinking about this. Can we have a chat? And that goes straight into a chat. But otherwise, have mini steps. So just give you a quick indication of what we do is we have the first 2 messages. Then at 14 days, I try to invite everyone to our Facebook group. People come to our Facebook group. There's some marketing that we do around there to try to engage the conversations, present the Facebook group as a value add to them. And then I'm still working on this, but at 45 days, I'm going to do for our LinkedIn, a next step into a lead generator. We've got a free course, 30-day kickstart. I think that's going to be really relevant to people in the coming months. So that's probably what I'm going to do, the 45-day mark. So, just little steps. But when people engage with those little steps, you have another opportunity to create a conversation. So when the not nows or the no's come up, just let them go and know that they're going to get caught up potentially in another step later on, because you've got the next steps, the next steps sorted. So, and scheduled and being done. So yeah, once again, we're asking questions, trying to create a conversation. The conversation is and it just runs exactly the same way as if you had this thing. If you go to a BNI meeting, you have a conversation with someone at a BNI meeting, which leads to a next step. That's the conversation you're having on these platforms. Put a spreadsheet together so you can measure your performance, and then you can start fine tuning things. Like, for example, if you're cold connecting with people with no message, you can test that against a certain message and see what the results are and what works best. Okay, so I just want to talk about some offers now, because this all works really well when you get the conversations, but you need something to move to at the end. Strategy and setup. We talked about that now. If people don't want to spend money on advertising now, talk to them about, let's get ready for when the dust settles and everyone's back on the feet. We can do the setup for you now. We can do the strategy now. That means when you're ready to pull the trigger, we can just go bang and it's done, as opposed to 3 months down the track, dust to settle, you have to start from scratch. Create an offer around that. On Monday, if you're in our email database and you're not a client, we've got a campaign coming up. I have capacity now because we've lost quite a number of deals. I want our team to be busy. I want to keep them busy, and there's going to be an offer at the end of that. It's a rehash of an existing offer that we do every 3 or 4 months. But there's a real, part of the thing is you have to make your offers material, and everyone knows that everyone's lost business at the moment, and everyone knows everyone's got resources. So create an offer around that. When you go back over your last 12 months of proposals out there, maybe you do something like, look, we're in exactly the same position as you and everyone else. We have resources on hand now. I want to keep the team busy. I want to keep them employed. How about if you'd like to start this week, I'll give you 50% off for your first 2 months or first 3 months or something like that, that just gets some cash in the door, keeps your resources going, and gets new clients. Downloads, events, high value content. That's obviously the bread and butter of lead generation, lead magnets, that kind of stuff. Don't do events at the moment. I don't think they'll fly unless they're online events. Exclusivity is something that you can sell. Like, I'm only going to deal with one lawyer for this postcode. I'm only going to deal with one law firm for this city, kind of thing. So you can sell exclusivity. Do you want to be the lawyer that lawyer in this city who I've done this for? Do you want to be the lawyer in this city? You can talk to them and we can set up a referral if you want to discuss it. So you can do that. Can you handle this amount of new business? I wouldn't run that at the moment. I don't think that would be a believable thing. The exclusivity one though, think about those businesses that are booming now, because that could be quite attractive for them now. Turn a thing you already do into a dollar offer. So this is the marketing campaign that we used to run a marketing campaign. We'll give you 3 months of SEO on us for your first campaign so you can try out our services. And not very sexy. People weren't really buying into it. It wasn't really working. We just changed that to new agencies to, look, we'll give you $1,000 credit on your invoices so you can try us out properly. And that worked. It's actually the same offer because the 3 months of SEO was worth $1,000. But instead of what I sort of unpacked was telling them 3 months of SEO gave them work to do because they had to go find a deal and do a sale and that kind of stuff. Whereas giving them $1,000 invoice credit is a gift, a gift that they can go, wow, that's $1,000. That's amazing. So what are you already doing in your marketing? Can you rejig it and make it a bit sexier or a bit more, seem just, the perception of it be a bit more amazing for your prospects? And what does that look like? So the way I marketed this workshop, if you're looking at marketing, is I'm doing this on this date. Would you like to join me? No pushiness. And we did one email for it. We put it in Digital Marketing Dream Team, and it was just I'm doing this. Would you like to join me? That works really well. Like with events and workshops and stuff like that, it's like doing the blah, blah, blah with massive, benefits and that kind of stuff doesn't work as well as just doing a one sentence, I'm doing this, would you like to join me? When we put that out through to our email database, that type of offer, we usually get it over 40% open rate of our emails. 40%, more than 40% of our emails open. So if you're doing online training at the moment, or you're hitting industry with online stuff, think about having that as a strategy through your email database. I'm doing this already. It's going to happen whether you're going to come or not, but I'd like you to join me and see what happens there. What are topical things today? There's lots of topical things today that we can think of. What I'd like you to do, also, like as I said, I'll give you the slides of the links here. We did a training with John Logar. Tanya, I know you're in it. It was a brilliant session, wasn't it? But we did a training session with John about a month and a half ago, and in this session he was crafting real life offers for people and what they did with their what they're doing with their target audience. Have a look at the training. I've got the link there. It's on our YouTube channel. I think it's around 22 minutes into the training session where he actually starts crafting these offers for people. So have a look there, just to get your mind going and get that agility in your thinking to craft really relevant offers today for what people are looking for, so that when you've reached out to people cold, the numbers saying so many people have put their hands up. Notice that I don't want to jump on the phone and start calling people, because that's confrontational, because so many people are going to slam the phone down. I only want to pick up the phone when someone's already put their hand up. So we've done the niche stuff. We've done the outreach, which is really, the outreach which is not intimidating at all, because it's just a quick friend request or a connection request on LinkedIn, or a warm-up email to a cold database. That the information of that's in the John Logar session there too. It's only when people have put their hand up and had this conversation with us willingly that we present an offer to them. So, that's one of the things of one of the ways to make outreach easier is to not push stuff on people who haven't put their hand up saying, let's have a chat first. So all we're doing with this outreach is marketing, not sales. Marketing, not sales. We're getting people to put their hand up. We're having a conversation. If the conversation goes down to a path that, they're interested and need some help, that's when we start talking about how we help them. But all this stuff here, all the offers that we're putting up, all that kind of stuff there is all based on they put their hand up, there is a need, they're umming and ahhing, how do we make them say yes? Check out that training session, it's brilliant. Every time I talk to John, I end up with a new marketing offer, a new sort of email campaign that I want to run. But that's pretty much it. So I just want to make sure everyone does honor the appointments they put in their calendar. Does anyone have any questions before we go? Like, it was going to be 90 minutes. We've got 12 minutes left. I'm happy to answer any questions. Any thoughts on how valuable this has been? Do you have things to do today, tomorrow, that's going to keep pushing your business forward in a positive manner while the rest of the world is falling into fear and panic? Claire, absolutely. I'll send out the slides. I'll get it done. Obviously the video has to record. I'll shoot you out the slides by the end of the day. Was there a specific link you're looking for, Claire? I can maybe just chuck them in the chat here for everyone. All right. That's for the video in the previous slide. Give me a sec. All our videos are on Globotel TV YouTube channel. So if you just go there, you'll find them there. Okay, so there's the YouTube one. So this is the avatar ideal client worksheet. All right, there you go. Everyone's got them now. Quickly click them so you can grab a copy. I did put this slide deck together about 4 months ago, so if that avatar thing doesn't work anymore, let me know and I'll get it updated. Any other questions or feedback? So, Tanya, when you say struggling for time for what is to come, is that the post-shock boom? Time-saving tips: hire a VA, get really good, strong processes. Actually, before you hire anyone at any time, processize the things that you're going to pass on. Video training, all that kind of stuff. As you go through the processes, record screen captures of what you're doing, commentate into it, so it's really, really easy to pass on to someone else. So if you're not busy next month, that's a really good time to get all your processes really, really sweet. We at the end of last year, one of our VAs resigned, and a new one started. and we didn't have we thought our processes were pretty good, but they were too high level. They weren't detailed enough, and it made training really, really challenging for the new VA. Now, obviously, having learned from that, we got super, super detailed processes around everything that the VAs do, which makes transition to new people very, very easy. So, yeah, I just try to, I mean, if you don't have time to document this stuff, Tanya, just screen capture everything you're doing, voice record, and you know, you can document stuff later. There's great software out there, Monday, Bitrix, Asana, Way We Do, that actually lets you run your processes online too. Thanks, Reynold. I'd love for you to give us some feedback in a week or two as to how your LinkedIn's going. When you don't get when your implementation and your fulfillment business disappears, Tanya, that's when you really start ramping up your outreach. So if you want to start by doing 10 a day this week, 10 a day next week, then all of a sudden things have dropped off. That's when you go 50 a day. Anyone else? Or I can call the session over. Thanks everyone for coming along. Once again, during these times, jump in on John Loger's clarity calls. A lot of good stuff happens there. The link every morning it's the same link. It's in the Digital Marketing Dream Team already. So just click the link at, I think it's 7 a.m. Brisbane time, 8 a.m. Sydney time, and I think that's 2 p.m. PST if you're in the US. Thanks, Tanya. All right, great. Thanks, everyone. I'll be in touch. And if you've got any follow-up questions, just maybe tag me, put a comment up in the Digital Marketing Dream Team, tag me, and I'll jump in and I'll answer there, because we're obviously trying to share the love and share the support for everyone in the industry at the moment. Because I really believe that our industry is the one that's going to be most important after the dust settles and getting everyone back on their feet. So thanks for your time, and yes, stay safe, look after your family and loved ones and community, and let's keep moving.